To study and to talk about urban American philosophy, you have to start by examining the Civil Rights era. Post-World War II, Americans experienced a huge economic growth. A large factor in the rise in wealth in America was home ownership, caused by an increased focus on the development of suburbs. The access to education also rose predominantly for these families because they had an increased wealth derived from that home ownership. There was a fundamental issue with its expansion, and it was that while most Americans prospered, others were marginalized. In American history, racial, ethnic, class, and gender lines have heavily marginalized most Americans. Race has been the biggest indication for marginalized people in society. Largely black communities are marginalized to the highest degree. In this time, Jim Crow laws were still affecting blacks in the South, while blacks were subtly being denied access to home ownership, proper education, and even the right to vote in the North. Blacks were largely denied access to home ownership and were instead pushed into public housing into the ghettos. These areas lacked proper funding for parks, schools, and general community upkeep. These areas quickly deteriorated. This is just a form of controlling that population. Around the 70s, the term urban signified issues bound to race and poverty of the black community. It was easier for politicians to say that there was an urban problem rather than saying there was a black problem. Later, throughout the apparent drug wars under Reagan's, Bush, and Clinton's administration, these problems caused increase in police intervention, and the urban populations were way more heavily policed than any other areas. This is just another form of controlling the black population. The war on drugs caused the prison population to double in under 10 years, and has caused America to be the country with the most incarcerated citizens per capita. Given these individual criminal records, has caused these individuals to be seen by undesirable by the rest of society. These analyses are a brief description of how subtle changes in perceived equal rights has led to the marginalization of an entire race of people in this country. This is the basis for urban American philosophy. By bringing these issues to the forefront, we can only hope that society will right our wrongs and so that we can live in a more just society.